Well, good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, March 24th, with our daily devotional, and again from Chuck Swindoll. Um, it's called Watch Your Words, and begins with these words from Esther, chapter 4, verses 1 through 8, and I will just quickly read them for you. It says, When Mordecai learned all that he had done, Mordecai tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes and went through the city, wailing with a loud and bitter cry. He went up to the entrance of the king's gate, for no one might enter the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. In every province, whenever the king's command and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting and weeping and lamenting, and most of them lay in sackcloth and ashes. When Esther's maid and her eunuchs came and told her, the queen was desperately distressed. And she sent garments to clothe Mordecai so that he might take off his sackcloth, but he would not accept them. Then Esther called for the Hathach, which is one of the king's eunuchs, who had been appointed to her, and ordered him to go to Mordecai to learn what has happened and why. And so he went to Mordecai in the open square of the city in front of the king's gate. And Mordecai told him all that had happened to him and the exact sum of money that Haman had promised him to pay the king's treasury for the destruction of the Jews. Mordecai gave him a copy of the written decrees issued in Susa for their destruction, that he might show it to Esther, explain to her, and charge her to go to the king to make supplications to him and entreat him for her people. And I know that's a little hard, just kind of taking out a few verses in the middle of the chapter, but this will explain it just a little bit, maybe. So Pastor Swindoll writes, have you noticed how suffering brings people together? Have you watched how people join forces to respond to disaster? Hardship forces us to grab hands with one another and pull up closer together. Suffering never ruined a nation. Hardship doesn't fracture families. Affluence does, but not suffering and not hardship. It pushes everyone to the same level with the same goal, survival. And so we're not surprised to find the Jews weeping and wailing and fasting together. Mordecai not only informs Esther through her servant all that has happened, even down to the specifics regarding the exact amount of money in the deal. He also sends along official evidence, a copy of the text of the edict. Have your queen read this, he says. This was signed with the king's signet ring. He didn't lose control of his emotions. He didn't exaggerate. He was careful with the information he communicated. Why do I make such a point of this? Because we all live in a day of hearsay, and few people pass along information that is precise and reliable. Do you? Are you careful about what you say? Do you have the facts? Do you offer proof that the information you're conveying is correct? Are there occasions when it's appropriate to pass along needed and serious information to the right sources? There's a growing preoccupation with rumor and slander. Half-truths and innuendos become juicy morsels in the mouth of unreliable gossips. There is no way to measure the number of people who have been hurt by rumors, exaggeration, and hearsay. Perhaps you have suffered this yourself. So be careful what you say. Be careful how you say it. Be careful that you send the right message and that you send it to the right person, and that you can do so with the right motives. And obviously that's pretty self-explanatory what Pastor Swindoll wants to say with this. And I'm just going to add just a few brief words here. You know, if you read through the book of James, and he talks about taming the tongue, and how the tongue is like the rudder of a boat. It's, you know, the boat is so large and so strong, and yet the rudder of the boat is that tiny little thing that steers it and guides it. And the tongue is a dangerous thing. We like to say words that hurt, and sometimes we say them without even knowing that we hurt somebody. And so the simple message here is very clear. Obviously, don't spread innuendos and rumors and all those types of things, but be careful about what you say. Words do hurt. You know that old saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me." Well, you know what? That's a crock. Names do hurt. The words of your mouth that come out of your mouth do matter to somebody. So just be careful what you say. Our words should be full of grace, and they should be full of truth, and they should be full of love instead of all the other stuff that is out there. Just be careful what you say, and we all do this. I mean, it's hard not to spread rumor and gossips and all those things, but this is just a reminder that this isn't a good thing. I don't remember in the fruit of the Spirit when we did that gossip was one of the fruits of the Spirit. So this is just a simple reminder, be careful of what we say, what we even pass along nowadays on Facebook or other social media things. Just because it's on Facebook doesn't make it true. Look at the source, look at the people who send it, and just know that there's a lot of stuff out there that is just not true. And so be careful with all of that, and be careful what you say. I don't know what else to say about that, but just know that the tongue is a dangerous thing, and we can do a lot of harm, but we can do a lot of good as well. So may your words be full of truth. May they be full of God's grace, and may they be full of God's love. Amen.